Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Paul Browning, and I'm the Headmaster at St Paul's School. And with me is Gabrielle Kempton, who's our Director of Realms of Thinking. Morning, Gabrielle.
Good morning, Paul. Hello, everyone.
It's great to be here. Now, I'm here to talk to you about entrepreneurialism in terms of education. There's no point really talking to you about this guy because you probably all recognise who he is, and there's many people across the globe just like him. Amazing entrepreneurs who've literally transformed the face of work or our globe. But I can tell you a little bit about this young lady, Sienna. Sienna's 9 years old and she's in our junior school. Sienna wants to pitch to me an idea about time twisters. Sienna's been really interested in mental health, particularly mental health of young people. And her view is, based on her research and her thinking, is that we don't have a long enough break between lessons. And she would really like us to actually have a bit more time between lessons where we can get active and get the blood flowing in our brains. Pretty soon she's going to come to me as the headmaster of the school and pitch an idea of how we restructure the school day. I'm really excited to actually hear what she's got to say. Now, Sienna and Mark Zuckerberg, what do they have in common? Well, both of them can think like an entrepreneur, quite remarkably. But we have a significant problem in the education of our young people in Australia today. Increasingly, education is standardised or being standardised. We're teaching kids to conform to a system. And as we teach them to conform to a system, we're squeezing out those important skills and attributes and abilities to think creatively, to think like innovators, to think like an entrepreneur. Why is it that many people become entrepreneurs in spite of our education? Why can't they become entrepreneurs because of their education? Now, we unwittingly as teachers teach kids to conform to a system, and pretty soon as they arrive at school, they learn how to conform to that system. They learn how they need to please a teacher. They ask questions like, how do I actually get an A on this assignment? What do I need to know to perform well in this assessment piece or this exam? And teachers do it unwittingly at the beginning of a lesson or a unit. They might actually stand up in front of the class and hold up an example of the piece of work or what they'd like the children to learn over the course of the unit. But what they're doing then is actually saying to the students, if your work doesn't look like mine, then you're wrong. Or if you don't get the solution the same way as I've shown you how to get to the solution, you're wrong. And we do that in a variety of subjects. English, mathematics, science, the creative subjects. We teach kids to conform to a system, and creativity is then squeezed out. So what is the solution? How do we actually encourage and foster creativity? Well, the solution is in the way that we teach, the way we deliver content. And at St Paul's School, we've been prototyping and trialling, and now we've rolled out a way of teaching that we call Realms of Thinking. And Realms of Thinking is embedded into every classroom across the entire school in every curriculum area. Gabrielle, can you tell me a little bit more about Realms of Thinking?
Sure.
What is it?
Well, Realms of Thinking help students to become innovative thinkers. They're approaches to learning which help students master the basics as well as navigate failure and ask deep questions, solve problems, and actually grow their creativity and innovation and to become, I guess, more autonomous in their learning.
Essentially, we've landed on 16 dispositions that we embed in the planning of every lesson and every unit across the school. Yeah. Briefly, what are some of those dispositions?
Well, being imaginative, curious, perceptive, being able to view things from multiple angles, understand complexity, and really to be able to create and convey novel ideas that are relevant to a context. But there are a cluster of dispositions and they work in really interesting ways depending on how students are approaching their learning.
So those dispositions foster creative thinking, and when clustered together they form different ways of working, like design thinking or entrepreneurial thinking. We've developed a subject here called IST, where we can actually see that being played out. IST briefly, Gabrielle.
IST is really interesting. We've got IST working across 10 year levels currently at the moment, and IST is where students are challenged around interdisciplinary concepts that allow them to draw on the creative dispositions that they're that have been nurtured, as well as the curriculum content that they're pulling from other subjects. It gives them a huge amount of autonomy to be creative and innovative and entrepreneurial in how they actually resolve some of those challenges.
And then we have another really exciting program that we call Design-Led Ventures, where we have teams of students who are literally consulting for different companies, like RACQ was one that we had last year. So can you tell us a bit more about Design-Led Ventures?
Design-Led Ventures grow our students' creative thinking through developing innovative, functional solutions that really enhance how we live. You can see on the screen we've got Saskia. Saskia has been a consultant for an emerging company, Anti-Ordinary. She successfully designed a brand identity and marketing strategy to help that company, grow in their operations and move forward.
And then finally, as I said before, why is it that young people become entrepreneurs in spite of their education? Why can't they become entrepreneurs because of their education? So underpinned with creativity in subjects across the entire school, our realms of thinking, we have a Centre for Innovators and Entrepreneurs, where young people who have a business idea can be supported to actually start their own business while they're at school. And we have quite a number of startups in residence, and we have quite a number of businesses in residence. The reality is, not every person will become an entrepreneur when they leave school, but the truth is, everybody needs to be able to think like an entrepreneur. Thank you very much for listening. Do we have any questions this morning?